Hi friends, and welcome to A Glow in the Dark. Kurowski here, and today I want to talk to you about self-love amongst discomfort. This really spoke to me this month with our theme of self-love because I have definitely struggled with it big time. Moving to a new city and just having a lot of stressful life events. Just haven't had a whole lot of room right now for compassion for myself. So what I've learned though has really helped me in overcoming some of those feelings because I've had to work through this a lot of times in my life. I hope that I can offer some tips today that maybe will help you get the process started. So the first step for me is always to stop bypassing it. A lot of times when you're feeling discomfort or when you're upset with yourself or something's frustrating to you about yourself, it's easy to just push it away and say, oh no, stop being sad about that, stop being frustrated with it, like you have other things to worry about, and you're just being stupid. That usually doesn't really do much for long and it just pops up again. So I've found that sometimes I do just have to sit with it. I do have to just be depressed about it for a while or wallow in self-pity for a few days. Because the more I just kind of like try and push it aside and tell myself I'm being stupid, the more it doesn't get resolved. So usually I will have to finally just acknowledge that I need to take time to sit with whatever the emotion or discomfort is. So for me lately, this has been my weight gain, because I did really well for about 5 years. I was able to maintain the same weight, and then I experienced a pregnancy loss and started working at a stagnant job, and I just over the course of a few months gained about 25 pounds. So I was excuse me, I've been really upset about that and kind of berating myself until I just realized I just needed to take time and be sad about it. So then the next thing that I usually do is think what can be done about this. Now, when I noticed myself gaining weight after the miscarriage, I basically didn't care. So I knew that I needed to intervene, but at that time, I just didn't have a whole lot of give a crap. So I sort of just pushed it off to another time, which is not always the best idea, but here we are now at another time, and there's more consequences of pushing it off. So that's kind of the next step in my thought process, is accept the consequences. For me, the consequences of letting it go longer is that I had more weight gain. So I've kind of stopped being mad about it and moved to that place of acceptance acceptance of reality, where it's like, okay, the weight is there, and the only thing you can do is either continue to wallow or move on. So finding that next step now is a little bit easier because I feel more in a place where I can make a plan and move forward and find something positive for a solution. Then once I've kind of worked through this a little bit, and accepted the consequences of my actions, I try to reframe any negative self-talk. And I've done a number of videos on this, but it's important here because you're already addressing the issue. There's no point in continuing to berate yourself over and over again. So at this point, if I have anything that pops up in my head that's negative, I will try to reframe it. So if it's, the weight thing again, it's like, oh, I'm experiencing discomfort because I'm huffing and puffing, and why the heck did I have to be stupid and gain all that weight? I'll usually turn that around and say, okay, I'm at where I'm at, and I've made a plan to address this issue, and today I've done XYZ to address that issue, and I will continue doing my best steps forward to feel better. Sometimes you can say a little bit more positive about yourself and sometimes you can't, but as long as you are reframing that really negative talk, it's, in my opinion, helpful and helps you move forward. And I think that anyone who's struggled with really self-deprecating language will know that it really does not help you very much. There's always times in our life where it's good to feel, wow, I really screwed up. But when you keep doing it to yourself over and over and over again for everything, it doesn't do anything for you. It's completely against you. So that's why I picked the quote for our affirmation this week. And I can't remember exactly what it was, but basically that the words you say to yourself matter. And that's because, if you can think about the energy of the language you're using towards other people when you say something very hurtful, that same energy is going towards yourself. That same hurt and pain is being fed into your being in the exact same way that it would be given to another person. And it adds up over time, just like it would with anyone else. You use abusive language towards another human being and it impacts them. So why would we expect that it would be any different when directed at ourselves? And I guess the last thing I just wanted to talk about is that I know it can be really hard to love yourself when you're angry at your actions or embarrassed by something you did or depressed, and you just don't have the energy to put into that. For the sake of this video, depression is a lot of a different energy than anger and like resentment, and depression's like a don't care energy. Like I don't have anything to give that thought. I don't have any energy. So it's a little bit different than addressing like discomfort of being angry at yourself or being negative towards yourself, because those are a little bit of a different, they're coming from a little bit of a different place, and you can usually address it and reframe it. With depression, it's a little bit more of a complex issue. So for the sake of this video, I'm more talking about if you have those feelings of like anger towards yourself, or you're just uncomfortable about the way you acted, or, something along those lines. This is kind of the thought process that I use to get myself out of those negative thought patterns and move on to do something a little bit more productive. So I think in the future, maybe I'll do something tailored a little bit more toward getting out of those thoughts when you're depressed. But I feel like learning self-love through depression, for me anyway, maybe not for other people, was a little bit of a different process than when you're just struggling through some discomforts. Not that depression's not uncomfortable, but hopefully you catch my meaning. So we'll end it there, and hopefully that kind of gave you a little bit of a framework to work with. So I'm just going to kind of summarize it again, and I wrote it down, so forgive me looking on my paper, but it helps me to stay organized. So the first thing is to stop blocking those thoughts, giving yourself permission to feel what you're feeling instead of criticizing what you're feeling. Thinking about what can I do now, if there's anything that I can do now, or am I willing to do anything now? And then accepting the consequences of not doing something or whatever it is, just accepting it. And then reframing any negative self-talk. You've already addressed the issue. It's time to stop beating yourself up about it. So thank you so much for joining us this week, and I'll be coming at you next week with another video. And again, we appreciate you watching A Glow in the Dark. We're always hoping that it helps somebody else. So if you enjoy what we're putting out, subscribe, share our videos. Our sincere, genuine hope is that the experiences my sister and I have gone through and overcome can help someone else. So with that, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time.